Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. I seek refuge with Allah from the outcast Satan. Hello everyone, my name is Mahdi and I am here with another Quranic conversation. And the topic of this conversation is fasting according to Quran. So without further ado, let's look at the questions I have prepared for this Quranic conversation. So the first question is, what is Quranic fasting? How many days or nights does Quranic fasting last in the month of Ramadan? Why should we fast? What is the purpose of fasting? And at the end of this Quranic presentation, we want to get to the bottom of it and find out how did the last prophet and his followers fast. So please hold on. This is a very important topic that we are going to talk about. It might be a little bit heavy, and you might have to watch this presentation a couple of times. But I promise you one thing, you're going to learn a lot from this Quranic conversation, and you're going to see one more time how clear, specific, detailed, and comprehensive and consistent Quran is. So let's start with verse number 183 from chapter 2, and we'll just move forward from there. It says, "O you who believe, fasting has been enjoined upon you just like it was enjoined upon those before you, so that you may become God-fearing." So the verse is telling us very clearly that our fast is just like the fast that was written for those before us. It's not something that is special to us. We are not fasting any different than those before us, such as the prophets, messengers, such as Jesus Christ, son of Maryam, and Prophet Moses, and so on and so forth. So the next verse is verse number 184 of chapter 2 is the next verse. So it says a limited number of ayyam. Ayyaman ma'adudat. So the word used here is ayyam. Ayyam is the plural of the word yawm in Arabic. The word yawm in Arabic means day plus night. It's not only the day, it's not only the night. It's both day plus night. It's technically a 24-hour period that starts from the beginning of the dawn to the beginning of the dawn of next day. So again, one more time. So this ayyam is a 24-hour period. It's very important to remember this and to keep that in mind. So you're going to hear me repeating it constantly throughout this Quranic conversation. It does not exist in other languages, and as far as I am aware, we don't have any equivalent in English language either. It says, "So whoever among you is ill or on a journey during those ayyam, then an equal number of other ayyam," which again, as I mentioned, is days plus nights. It's a 24-hour period. "And upon those who are able to fast but don't, then there is a ransom as substitute." So what is this ransom? This ransom is of feeding a poor person for each day. So let's say hypothetically, fasting is 30 days. It means that you have to feed one person for each day. It means you have to feed 30 people for 30 days. And whoever volunteers good, it means it does more, then it's better for him. But to fast is best for you if you only knew. So please keep that in mind, that yom in Arabic is day plus night and starts from the beginning of dawn to the beginning of dawn next day, and is technically a 24-hour period. So that's something that you really need to keep in mind. Now we're going to look at verse number 185 from chapter 2. The month of Ramadan is the one in which the Quran was revealed as a guide for mankind and clear proofs of the Furqan, of the guidance and the criterion, Furqan. So those of you who are present during the month must fast therein. And should anyone be sick or on a journey, then a number from other ayyam, again remember ayyam as I mentioned is days plus nights. Allah wants ease for you and does not want hardship for you, and all this because you may complete the number and magnify Allah for having guided you, and that you might be grateful. So the purpose of fasting is to magnify Allah for his guidance that he has given us through Quran, and to be grateful to him. And also remember, Allah mentions in this verse that he wants ease for the believers. He does not want difficulty for them. So next we're going to look at verse number 187 from chapter 2. It has been made permissible for you during the night of fasting. Remember, Allah uses the word yawm, correct? So yawm is days and nights. So here, that's why I just want you to keep that in mind when we are reading this verse. It has been made permissible for you during the night of fasting, conjugal speech with your wives. They are a clothing for you, and you are a clothing for them. Allah knows that you have been betraying yourselves, so he returned to you and forgave you. Therefore, from now on, communicate and have contact with them. With who? With your wives. And seek that which Allah has decreed for you, and eat and drink until the white thread of dawn becomes distinct to you from the black thread of night. Then complete the fast until the night. So what is night? Night starts after the end of the dusk period. So you have to actually know what dusk period is. Dusk starts with the sunset and ends with the night. So dusk is usually about an hour, 10 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the season and where you are. Then it says, and do not communicate and have contact with them as long as you are in reclusion in the mosque, as long as you are doing i'tikaf. And i'tikaf is when you are in a sitting worship, and you are in reclusion as in the mosque for several days. These are the limits set by Allah, so do not approach them. Thus does Allah make clear his verses, i.e. obviously ordinances, legislature, to the people that they may become righteous. So I have highlighted this part of the verse because it's very important, and we're going to look at it further. So let's summarize the highlighted part of this verse together. Let's just go through it. So what it technically is saying is that believers should, number one, communicate and have contact with their wives. Is bashiruhunna, fal'ana bashiruhunna. Communicate and have contact with their wives. And number two, seek that which Allah has decreed for them. وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. And number three, eat and drink. So believers should communicate and have contact with their wives and seek that which Allah has decreed for them, and eat and drink until the beginning of dawn. Then at the beginning of dawn, complete the fast until the night. So remember, night is after the dusk is over. That's when night starts. So dusk starts with sunset and ends with night. And it says, and believers should not communicate and have contact with their wives while they are in reclusion, or they are in i'tikaf in the mosques. So it means both days and nights when you are in i'tikaf, you should not have any sort of contact or communication with your wives. Now let's dissect this verse together even further. So the word until or hatta in this verse has been used to justify the practice of not eating and drinking while fasting in Ramadan. So let's look at it a little bit further. So if the word until or hatta in Arabic, if the word until implied not eating and drinking, which is item 3, that from previous slide, while fasting as asserted by current Islamic sects, then it should also imply and apply the same negation to item number 1 and item number 2 mentioned in the verse while fasting. So in a nutshell, believers should not communicate and have contact with their wives and not seek that which Allah has decreed for them and not eat and drink while fasting. So it's a very logical explanation that if until apply, if until has that negation connotation to eating and drinking, it should have the exact same negation connotation to the other 2 items of not communicating and not seeking that which Allah has decreed for the believers as well while they are fasting. So here it's very important. We are going to come back to the word yawm again. So remember, fasting initially was 30 ayyam. A month of fasting was initially 30 ayyam. It means 30 days plus 30 nights non-stop. There was no break in it. Up until this verse was revealed, fasting was 30 days plus 30 nights non-stop. There was no break in it. So you have to keep that in mind. So let's see how fasting would have looked like before Allah revealed this verse. So in order to we are going to look at those 3 items that I just marked for you. So item number 1, having contact and communicating with your wives. This is the only item that would have been possible to accomplish for 30 ayyam non-stop. It's 30 days and 30 nights non-stop. This item number 1, that's the only item that would have been possible. Item number 2 is seeking what Allah has decreed for us. It would have actually been complete. It goes completely against Allah's commandment. If we negate this item, it goes completely against all Allah's commandments. Why? It's because one should stop seeking Allah's decrees, including actually the fasting itself, including salah or daily prayers, zakah or charity, and so many other things. So it basically says, do not seek what Allah has decreed for you during that 30 days and 30 nights. Item number 2 is only and only possible if believers quit their faith and become altogether godless for 30 ayyam, 30 days and nights non-stop. Would have still been impossible after Allah gave believers a discount by limiting the fast to days and not requiring the fast at nights. Because what it would mean is that during the fast, you should just not seek what Allah has decreed for you. And that just simply does not make sense. And Allah does not make mistakes when He reveals His verses. We all know that. So item number 3 would have totally been impossible to accomplish for 30 ayyams non-stop. So because what it means is that for 30 days and 30 nights, you would not be eating or drinking at all, which is absolutely impossible as far as I know. But it is absolutely impossible. Item number 3 is only possible if the fast is limited to days and not require at nights. So as you can see, Allah has designed this verse in such a way that it clearly proves fasting could not have possibly been about not eating and drinking. It would have been impossible to fast if it was about not eating or drinking. The verse makes it obvious that until is only applicable to communication with wives, which is our item number 1. That until cannot have any sort of negation impact on item number 2 and item number 3. We're going to delve a little bit further, and you're going to see that actually that until has nothing to do with those first 3 items, okay? So let's summarize the verse one more time together. Fasting initially was 30 ayyam. It means 30 days plus 30 nights non-stop. Some believers were cheating and betraying themselves by communicating and having marital talks with their wives at nights. Allah excused the believers from fasting during the night with the following exception. It says, while in i'tikaf, while in reclusion in the mosque, fast is a complete day and night for a 24-hour period. So it's just that is the exception, that as long as you're not in the mosque, as long as you're not doing i'tikaf, as long as you're not in reclusion, then that is fine. You can communicate, have contact with your wives at nights. But as soon as you're in i'tikaf, then you're in reclusion in the mosque, you can't do it. It becomes a full 24-hour period, just like it was before the verse was revealed. So also you have to read this very carefully. If the verse meant by any chance sexual intercourse as opposed to communicating and having contact with wives, if by any chance, as translated right now, if it meant a sexual intercourse, then the verse would have implied that it was okay for believers to have sexual relationship with their wives in mosques whenever they are not in i'tikaf, whenever they were not in reclusion in the mosque, then it would have been okay. The verse implies that it would have been okay to have sexual relationship with your wives for when you are in the mosque, and that's just simply not possible. Of course, we all know that that's not right. So the verse, again, it's so clear that the verse is about talking and pleasantries between a married couple that is otherwise actually pretty normal and acceptable to happen in a mosque when people are not in reclusion, when people are not doing i'tikaf. So it's actually people go with their wives to the mosque, they talk to their wives in the mosque. So this is something that is very normal and it does happen all the time, but except for when you are fasting and you are in reclusion, when you are in i'tikaf in the mosque. So just to make things a little bit more clear, I have prepared 2 examples. So let's look at 2 examples together. And I am not going to mention the word fast in them because all of us since childhood, we have been told something about fasting and our brain automatically associate the word fasting with not eating and drinking. So let's just take fasting out of the picture and look at the verse while talking about 2 other activities. Okay, so that's just going to make things a lot more clear for you, I believe. So again, for believers, communicate and have contact with them, your wives, number 1. Seek that which Allah has decreed for you, number 2, and eat and drink, number 3, until the beginning of dawn. So this part we are clear, very clear. Now example number 1. Then drive from Los Angeles to Salt Lake City and make sure you complete the drive. Now, example number 2. Then take care of your sick grandfather until I take over from you at night. So let's just read one more time together from the beginning without me mentioning any numbers. So communicate and have contact with your wife and seek that which Allah has decreed for you, and eat and drink until the beginning of dawn. Then drive from Los Angeles to Salt Lake City and make sure you complete the drive. That's example number 1. Example number 2. Communicate and have contact with your wife. Seek that which Allah has decreed for you, and eat and drink until the beginning of dawn. Then take care of your sick grandfather until I take over from you at night. Now think about it. Think about these verses for a little while. So, does example number 1 mean that the driver should not communicate with his wife or seek Allah's decrees or eat or drink while driving? Of course not. The verse is not telling you not to do the first 3 items at all. So you can actually, while you are driving, of course, you can communicate with your wife. You have to always, always, every minute of the day, you have to be seeking Allah's decrees. You have to say prayers. You have to do zakah. You have to do charity. Uh, I of course, while someone is driving, they're gonna have to eat and drink as well, so to stay focused on their driving. Otherwise, if you don't eat or drink while driving, you cannot focus. You might fall asleep, and you just can't do what you're supposed to do correctly. So that is very clear. So in example number 2, does it mean that the person should not communicate with his wife or seek Allah's decrees or eat or drink while taking care of his sick grandfather? Does the verse has any such connotations to it? Again, of course not. So the verse is telling you that just take care of your sick, that the example number 2 is telling you to take care of your sick grandfather from dawn until night when I take over. So what it means is that, of course, you can obviously be communicating with your wife. You can be you have to be seeking Allah's decrees. You have to eat and you have to drink. But that's not the focus. The focus is taking care of your sick grandfather. As you can see, one cannot conclude that the first 3 items should be stopped at dawn due to either driving, example number 1, or taking care of sick grandfather, which is in example number 2, unless there is a firm ban placed on the first 3 items somewhere else, starting at dawn and ending at night. The only thing the verse is forbidding, if you read this verse correctly, the only thing that the verse is forbidding is communicating and having contact with the wives during fasting period. It's actually giving a discount to the believers, so it just makes it possible. Allah permits the believers to actually communicate and have contact with them during the night, at night of the fasting. So a fasting is yawm, it's day plus night, so it gives them a discount during the night. So how do we know for sure that basharuhunna does not mean sexual intercourse here? As you can see in a lot of Quranic translations, they have translated it as sexual intercourse. So how do we know it does not mean that? So the word bashir and mubashir are from the exact same root and refer to someone who is giving a happy news by talking pleasantly, as opposed to someone who is warning by talking seriously. So these words are used many times in Quran. So you can actually go and look for them yourself. There are absolutely no instances of any words from this root being used in Quran to refer to sexual relationship. It's just not there. It's always, when it comes about mubashir, bashir, the same as basharuhunna, is talking about to having a talking pleasantly and communicating and having contact, just like I explained in previous verses. As you can see, this verse was misrepresented by the associators to portray fasting as not eating and drinking during Ramadan. So nowhere in this verse or anywhere in Quran, nowhere in this verse, anywhere in Quran, Allah commands the believers not to eat and drink while fasting during Ramadan or any other time for that matter. You just never find it. You never find an example of any prophet or any messenger that Allah says, okay, he was so good, he was so righteous, he was so pious, and he did not eat or drink for 10 days or for 2 days, or you just don't find it. So the question is, what is fasting according to Quran? So that's what we want to find out. That's our goal. What is fasting according to Quran? So one more time, let's look at the verse 183 from chapter 2. It says, "O you who believe, fasting has been enjoined upon you just like it was enjoined upon those before you, so that you may become God-fearing." So our fasting, this verse tells us very clearly, is very similar to the fast of those before us. So let's see if we have any examples in Quran of someone fasting, and how they were fasting, and how their fast looked like. So actually, we do actually have two Quranic witnesses when it comes to fasting. So the first Quranic witness is the example of Maryam. So that's this verse is verse number 26 from chapter 19. It says, "So eat and drink, and look forward to the birth of your child. Then if you see any human being say, 'I have vowed a fast for the Rahman, for the gracious, the most gracious, and therefore I shall never talk to any human beings this yom, this day plus night, this 24-hour period,' as I mentioned before." So here in this Quranic verse, which obviously is the example of Maryam, Allah commands her actually to eat and drink. He says, "So eat and drink." Allah commands her not to talk to any human being for a 24-hour period, yom, and uh, that is a fast. So Allah actually is telling us what a fast is. So Maryam in this verse is saying that I am fasting. I am fasting. Therefore, because I am fasting, I will not talk to any human beings for a yawm, for a day plus night, for 24 hours. It could not be any clearer. This verse is actually giving us the definition of fasting. That's what fasting is is a 24-hour period uh, during which you don't talk to any human beings. So that was fasting, and before verse number 187 of chapter 2 was revealed. So that's how Prophet and his followers used to fast. So let's look at the second Quranic witness, and that this is verse number 41 from chapter 3. He said, "My Lord, make for me a sign." He said, "Your sign is that you will not be able to speak to the people for 3 ayyam. Again, 3 days plus night, 72 hours. So except by gesture. So Zechariah was not able, so a fast was imposed on Zechariah. So this obviously was not voluntary fasting. So Allah imposed a mandatory 3-day fast on him, during which he would not be able to talk to any human beings for a consecutive 72-hour period. The purpose of the involuntary fast imposed on Zechariah was for him obviously to remember Allah and to glorify him. And obviously you know that Zechariah was the father of John of Yahya, or also known as John the Baptist. He was the teacher of Maryam, mother of the Messiah. He was the student of Imran, and Imran, you know, Imran and his family, Allah chose over all the families of the earth. So if Zechariah and Maryam fasted this way, you should know that obviously Jesus fasted this way, John fasted this way, Imran fasted this way. So all of them, that's how they fasted. So let's read this verse one more time. He said, my Lord, make for me a sign. He said, your sign is that you will not be able to speak to the people for 3 ayyam, except by gesture. And remember your Lord much, and glorify in the evening and in the morning. So the verse again is very clear. Allah does not call this fast. It's because it's not voluntary. Of course, fasting is something that we offer. It's a voluntary offering to Allah, but this is not voluntary. So because of that, it doesn't call it fast. But it's the exact same thing that Maryam did. So Maryam did it only for 1 yom. It means 1 day plus night, 24 hour. But Zechariah, the fast that was imposed on him was for 72 hours, for 3 days. 3 days, again, 3 days plus nights. So let's look at another verse in Quran, and that's verse number 10 from chapter 19, about the second Quranic witness about Zechariah. Zechariah said, my Lord, make for me a sign. He said, your sign is that you will not speak to the people for 3 nights while being sound and healthy. So in this verse, Quran puts the emphasis on the nights. Remember, the word used here is actually thalatha layalin. Layal. Layal is the plural of the word layl. Layl in Arabic means night. Nahar means day. Layl means night. And Yawm means Nahar plus Layl. It means day plus night. So here Allah puts the emphasis on the nights. Allah wants to, in the previous verse, when Allah was talking about Zechariah, He used the word Ayyam. But here, Allah is using the word Layl. Allah wants us to make sure that we know when He is using the word Yawm or Ayyam, that actually does include Layl as well. Because of this, Allah uses the word Layl so that we know and we are not misled. This is Allah, as I have mentioned, and I keep mentioning, and I will continue saying that Allah has made His verses so clear for us, so that we understand, so that we don't have any excuse. There is no way we could go wrong if we stick to Quran. Allah's verses are very, very clear. So, and then verse number 11 of chapter 19, which is the next verse, it says, so he came out to his people from the prayer chamber from Mihrab, and signaled to them to glorify Allah in the morning and evening. So again, the purpose of the involuntary fast that was imposed on Zechariah was for him to glorify Allah. So let's go back to verse number 187 from chapter 2 with the knowledge that we gained and we learned from Quran. Let's go back to this verse and read it again. Let's see if it makes better sense for us. So it has been made permissible for you during the night of fasting. Again, we are coming back to that word yam, day plus night, right? During the night of fasting, conjugal speech, arrafas. Arrafas, if you look at the dictionaries, conjugal speech, obscene conversation. That's the exact meaning of it. Conjugal speech with your wives. They are a clothing for you, and you are a clothing for them. Allah knows that you have been betraying yourselves. How have they been betraying themselves? So they were fasting. So they were supposed not to talk to any human beings for 24 hours, for day and night, for 30 days. Obviously, they were missing their wives. So at nights, they would go have pleasantries and interesting conversations with their wives that usually take place. And one thing, obviously, leads to another. So, and that's how they were betraying themselves. So Allah makes it very clear in a very nice way. Allah says it to us so that we understand. It says, therefore, from now on, communicate and have contact with them, i.e. your wives, and seek that which Allah has decreed for you, and eat and drink until the white thread of dawn becomes distinct to you from the black thread of night. Then complete the fast. So we know what fasting is. Fasting has been defined for us when we talked about Maryam. It was just so clear that the verse makes it very clear. So it says, then complete the fast. What it means is that do not talk to any human beings until the night, and do not communicate and have contact with them, i.e. your wives, as long as you are in reclusion in the mosques. These are the limits set by Allah, so do not approach them. Thus does Allah make clear His verses or His ordinances, His legislature to the people that they may become righteous. Let's summarize the highlighted part of this verse together again so we understand them fully. So believers should communicate and have contact with their wives and seek that which Allah has decreed for them, and eat and drink until the beginning of dawn. Then they have to complete the fast by not talking to any human beings until the night, which is, remember, as I mentioned, night is after the dusk is over. Dusk starts with sunset and ends with night. So believers should not communicate and have contact with their wives while they are in reclusion, while they are in etikaf in the mosque, both days and nights, which means it's actually okay for the believers to have contact with their wives and communicate and talk to them while they are not in etikaf, while they are not in reclusion in mosque, which is actually correct. You know that people go to mosque with their wives actually. Now let's just make sure that fasting is actually 30 days. I mean, I mentioned that fasting in when we're talking it's 30 days, but is it Quranic? Is there somewhere in Quran that tells us that? So let's look at verse number 4 from chapter 58. Just before I start reading this verse, as I mentioned, Allah puts a ransom for those who can fast but don't. What they have to do is that they have to feed one person for each day of fasting. Please keep that in mind. So they have to feed one person for each day of fasting. Now let's read this verse together. It says, and whoever does not find a slave to free, this is for another atonement that they have to make. So I'm not going to go through the entire detail of it. I'm just going to read this part of the verse because that's the only part that is relevant to this Quranic conversation. It says, and whoever does not find a slave to free, then a fast for 2 consecutive months before they touch one another, before a husband is allowed to touch his wife again. So again, so a fast of 2 consecutive months. The Quran uses the word shahr for months. So shahr, and here is shahrain mutatabi'ain. It means 2 consecutive months. It says fasiyamu shahrain mutatabi'ain. It means a fast for 2 consecutive months before you're allowed to touch your wife again. And he who is unable, if you cannot fast 2 consecutive months, then you have to, it says the feeding of 60 poor people, 60 poor persons. So 1 person for each day. So we did talk about it. It was 1 person for each day. So what it means is that shahrain mutatabi'ain, or 2 consecutive months in Quran, is equivalent to 60, to the number of 60. So 1 person for each day. So feeding of 1 person for each day. So as you can see, each Quranic month is 30 days. A period of 30 days is equivalent to 60 days, which is considered 2 consecutive Quranic months. So one more time, 1 person for each day. So 30 days means 30 people. So 60 days means 60 people. So 60 days here in this verse, it's equivalent to شهرين متتابعين. It means 2 consecutive months. This verse is extremely, extremely important. We're going to come back to it in another Quranic conversation. So please keep that in mind. Allah may clarifies for us so we don't go wrong. Each month in the book of Allah is 30 days. And so the month of Ramadan is 30 days. It's always 30 days. So in conclusion, Quranic fasting is abstinence from talking. So it lasts 30 days and initially lasted during both days and nights, but Allah discounted the nights to the believers. The purpose of fasting is to focus on and magnify and glorify Allah because of His guidance. So i'tikaf, or staying in reclusion in mosques, were very common. As you can see at the time of the Prophet. Actually, last Prophet himself used to do i'tikaf and stay in reclusion in Hira cave in Becca, as we all know, and that's where he received Quran was revealed to him. So I know this is a very difficult topic. This is a tough pill to swallow. But we have to, as I have said, we have to allow Quran to talk. We have to hear Quran out, and we have to submit to Allah and His word. And as I have mentioned before, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ مِنْ بَعْدِ اللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ يُؤْمِنُونَ. In what saying after Allah and His verses do they believe in? You cannot listen to Allah's word. You cannot listen to Quran and then just jump on the wagon of sayings. You just can't do that. That's just association, and that is not submission to Allah and His word. So if you have any question or comments, please comment below. I will do my best to answer, Allah permitting and time permitting as well. With that being said, I just until our next Quranic conversation, may Allah bless you and guide you, and hopefully we'll talk soon. As salam.